Here we have the NZXT Source 210 mid-tower case here. It's a pretty budget-oriented case. I think it was about 30, I can't remember, 30 or 40 bucks online. I got free shipping as well. You'll find 3 external 5 1/4 inch bays, 8 internal 3.5 inch bays, and there are 7 expansion slots on the back. On the front has the room for 2 120mm fans, which are not included. The side panel, you can either fit a 120 or a 140mm fan. The top will support either 2 120s or 2 140s. And the rear fan is a 120mm, and that actually is the only fan that is included, just one fan. And the bottom will also support a 120mm fan. And they say it has a 230mm clearance with the hard drive bay installed for your video card, or without the hard drive bay you have 330mm of clearance. And for like an air heat sink, the clearance you'd have for the height of it without hitting the side of the case, you have 160mm. And between the side panel and the back of the motherboard tray, you have 20mm of clearance to put your wires. So that is almost 1 inch of space. It is plastic and aluminum-like finish, made with steel and a black coating. It weighs 6.5 kilograms. Not sure off the top of my head what that is in pounds. But it does support ATX, Mini ATX, Micro ATX, Flex ATX, and Mini ATX. And it has one standard audio microphone jack on the front, as well as 2 USB 2.0 ports. And as I can see, it says there is a 2-year warranty. And there's just the front of the box and the back of the box. Just going over some of the features. Just plain brown box and black writing on there. And get her open. Handy dandy knife here. Let's see if this will slide out of there easy. Probably upside down. Usually the best way to get them out. And there we have it. Flip her back up right. The styrofoam on the top and bottom here. Doesn't appear to be anything damaged. Big. Lovely styrofoam on there. And nice and cold. But here we are on the front. We have our 3 drive bays, power and reset switches, our USB 2.0 ports, and our microphone and headphones jack. On the top, that's where we have our 2 120 or 140mm fan, or you can put a dual or single radiator up there if you would like, for something like an H100 or H80 or any of them types of all-in-one units. On the back we have our single 120mm fan, and we also have the input-output area as well as our 7 expansion slots, and the bottom mounted power supply. And on the side we have our vent there for a 120 or a 140mm fan as well. And then on the other side panel is just one solid door, nothing there. And on the bottom we also have venting here for the power supply that sits in that area, as well as room for another fan there. That looks to be just a 120 millimeter there. We have some decent sized thumb screws here. Not too bad to get off. And also I can see there's two holes here for water clean. There is no grommet in there, however, so if you pop them out, you probably want to get a grommet or somehow protect that from your hose so it doesn't puncture. And here we have our door, and it's fairly stiff. I mean, it's not bad. It's got a little wiggle to it. One thing I can see I like right off the bat is all of the wires here are black for the most part. Besides the very end, everything is sleeved nice and everything is black. I know a lot of times you'll find 20 different colors of wires hanging out of here, which just never makes any sense to me. I imagine it makes it easier for the manufacturing process so they know which one's which. But having a black case and having them all black, it just is much more visually appealing. And I don't seem to see that too often. And here we just have our bag, a little owner's manual, a pair of some small little zip ties, and our case screws. Quite a bit of screws in there. It also looks like there are some additional thumb screws in there. And we have a large cutout here for the CPU cooler, which is pretty much a standard nowadays. We don't have to remove your motherboard to get your aftermarket coolers off of there, because a lot of times there will be a clip or some type of bracket on the back to support them better for the extra weight. And that just makes it very convenient. We got a couple cutouts here for our wire management. Once again, these don't have grommets either. It is just a metal hole, but it is very soft, or not soft, very smooth. So it will not really be cutting in anything. There's nothing there. And our power supply sits on the bottom here. I know sometimes you see little rubber mounts or something to absorb vibration. There's nothing like that on here. But we do have this little lever here that'll just kind of hang over the power supply to keep it down. So it doesn't bounce around, as long as screwing it in the back, obviously, with your 4 screws back there. And here are our 3.5-inch internal drive bays. Looks like there are 8 of them from top to bottom. Yep, nothing toolless or anything like that. I mean, it's just a very basic design. You put your drive in there, screw it in, and there you go, all set. 2 screws on each side. Pretty basic. Same with the top 5.25-inch drive screws, not toolless. But that is to be expected for something at this price range. So, cable tie. And let's see how long they make our white cables here. Obviously they are plenty long enough, as they will go outside of the case. So, I mean, they're going to pretty much fit on any motherboard you're going to get in here. You're not going to have any problems with that, obviously, since they reach all the way. And for the rear fan, we have a Molex adapter here, as well as a 3-pin connector, so you can use either or. And it is routed up on the top. It goes behind the motherboard tray seat and comes back out to the cable management, so that is already conveniently wired for you. It is not running across the front and in the way, so you do not have to move it or worry about it. And the same thing on the other side. That one I can't get. There we go. And pull that side off. And then it's just a solid door. Same construction as the other one. A little bit of flux, but it's really not that bad. I've seen much worse. And that's where we have our 20 millimeters of spacing in between our motherboard tray and the edge where you'd put your side panel back on. So it is almost an inch, not quite. Plenty of room there to mount your cables. And we also have all these little tabs here. Numerous. They're just everywhere. Just makes cable management a lot easier. You can take your wires, run a little zip tie or cable tie, whatever you want to call it, and you just zip them up to it, which I can see they've actually already done with the wires that are here. There's one there and one there. As well as the rear exhaust, that 120 millimeter fan, they also have it cable tied up on top there as well for you. But that would probably be about it. I mean, pretty basic case. Not a whole lot to it. Pretty lightweight. Looks great. Everything's black, and I love black. And a little bit of white there in that rear exhaust fan.